Alrighty, guys, this is Double Axis Podcast Side B, 12, Side B. We're going to talk exclusively about hunting on this one. We kind of promised you guys a hunting podcast, so basically kind of wanted to go over our hunting season so far. So, without further ado, Dave, I'm going to give you the floor first. So,
all right.
How's your hunting season went so far?
It's been terrible, but I mean, I've actually, last year I didn't see a single buck or doe, but this year I saw 2 doe second weekend, and it was about 4 o'clock, and I passed up on the second one. The second one I could have got a shot off, and I really wanted to, and my trigger finger was aching. It's like, go. But I felt like was moving them off top of this hill because I was sitting at the bottom of the hill by a creek. In this position, I had it's where the deer run down this hill, like the spot where I've seen them before. And it was sit there. I waited till like 7 o'clock. It was like pitch dark out. And I probably wouldn't have been able to hit him even if it came down. It was so dark. Waiting to see it. But besides that, I didn't have any other interesting days. I mean, the last weekend, I think you were out of town, but I was up here and it was so windy. It was so windy that whole day. Like, I went out in the morning and came back and my blind had like flipped over the creek. It was bad weather the last weekend. But I'm feeling real hopeful about muzzleloading season.
You need to shoot your muzzleloader before you go out.
Yeah, I'll shoot it this weekend because I need to fix my sights on it because I haven't shot it since last year.
Yeah.
And shoot it early muzzleloading season.
Well,
I know you've seen quite a bit of action this year, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been about I would call it mediocre. There's years where, especially when I first started, I think the rut hit pretty good with rifle season. Which when I first started, that's all I hunted was rifle season, and so there was days where I saw 20 plus deer in the first day. Haven't had any days like that, even remotely close to that. I'll talk a little bit more about that because I think I kind of have it nailed down a little bit why that is. But it's been okay. Our problem is, and I don't know how to fix it, is that we start the year off good with several options as far as the deer that we want to harvest. As the season goes along and the rut comes in, these deer all move away. And I don't know if it's because of our doe population being down. I don't know if some type of genetic pattern that they go to a certain area. I know where they go. It's not on our farm. There's nothing I can do about it. They do eventually come back. I've never had a tag when they've come back before, but I know that several of the deer that we've had on there have moved away and been harvested at this point. It's been kind of frustrating because I had a camera in my hand for a lot of it as opposed to a gun or a bow or anything else. And I was filming Bobby. My main goal of the year was to get Bobby a big deer. We've hunted hard. We've had pretty good game plans going into it. It just hasn't worked out. We saw quite a few small deer, saw a couple does, and even, basically every time I get up out of the line, I shine a light. I want to make sure that I'm not spooking anything out around me, and if I am, I'll sit down. And so, obviously hunting time's over, shine a light, big deer standing right there. So we have to sit down and wait for it to move out, blah, blah, blah. So that seems to kind of be the process. It's after shooting light. We're obviously not going to shoot when it's dark after shooting light. But I do that. I like to know what's out there. I also like to know we've got a really big problem with coons right now. So I like to know kind of what's going on, how many there, because after at this point in time, I'm just going to be really honest with you. The way things are going, we've only got one big deer on camera. If Bobby shoots him and there's nothing else that comes in, I might shoot a doe, mail it in for the year, and just try to harvest coons. So that's another reason why I'm kind of interested in what's going on right now, because we started out with 4 or 5 coons, and the next year we have 10 to 15. Now we've got 20 to 30, and it's just the population is just out of control. So we're going to have to do something about that. But I'm trying to address it after the season. I did get to a point though where I was like, okay, we would go to blind A, and every time the big deer would be at blind B. So I was like, okay, we're going to split up. And so the last portion of rifle season that I had, because like you said, I was gone the second weekend. We only get 2 weekends in Kentucky. It's what, 10 days or something like that?
Yeah.
So we only get 2 weekends, so I only have 4 full days. Well, my family planned a vacation the second day, so I lost, or second weekend, so I lost 2 of the 4 full days that I get. So I was basically altering my work schedule to go in early, get off early, and try to rush out there and be in my blind. And at that point in time, I split off from Bobby because I felt like our best chance was just kind of split out. There's only certain deers that I was going to shoot anyway, so if I saw them, I could tell him that they were there. He could kind of alter his plans, so forth and so on. And I don't know if you know this yet, but the Tuesday, so rifle season starts on Saturday, Sunday. That Tuesday,
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my blind at like, I don't know, 4:30 or so. I think I worked till about 4 o'clock. Rushed out there, probably got to my blind 4:15 or so. At about 4:30, I look up and I see a giant deer 600 yards away on another farm, and he's literally 120 yards away from Bobby's blind. So all he's got to do is walk down the hill, and he's basically right there in that area. And so I literally called him. I've never done this before. I always text. I called him and I said, he's right there. And so kept waiting for a shot, nothing. So I look up during this period of time when I'm looking for him, and I have an 8-pointer come in. He's a nice 8-pointer. He's probably only 2.5, 3.5 years old. He needs a couple more years. But I mean, when you see him in person, you're like, it gets pretty intriguing. And so I had several interactions with this deer. He was sitting there probably 40, 50 yards away. It's cool to see him. And he starts bristling up, and I'm like, oh man, there's another deer over there. Well, out walks a spike, and not a giant or anything like that. But it was cool because I got to see them interact. I got to see him snort wheeze, which is the first time I've got to see a deer snort wheeze in another one, live and in person. And he moves on. I'm texting Bobby saying, hey, the 8's moving towards you now too. And so the 8 goes over to his blind, shows up there. It's with him. The spike's there with me for a little bit. So the night kind of wanes on, and I'm actually packing my stuff up. And so I've kind of, it's weird because, I've killed 2 deer, this one and the one above me. And I've never really got buck fever or anything else. This one ran out chasing 2 does and went to an area that I didn't think he would, and I actually had to run out of my blind to be able to harvest him. So I wasn't even in a blind. I was just out on my feet shooting off sticks to be able to get him. And so I've never really experienced a whole lot of buck fever before, but I was packing my stuff up, ready to close up shop, and I look up and it's weird, and you'll get to this point, and I know that you haven't had a lot of experience out in the field, but when you see a mature deer, something in your brain clicks that it's different. It's not the spike, it's not the 8-pointer, it's a mature deer. I literally only saw the butt of this deer, and I was like, that's a mature deer. And so he's taking his time. I just see his butt. The hill's kind of here. I see his butt over here. There's woods over here, so I can't see the rest of him. He turns and he comes up to where we have some, we'll call it, I don't know what you want to call it because I don't want to give away my secrets, but we'll call it bait or whatever you want to say out for the deer. And so he starts making his way up the hill. I put my binoculars on him. I see how tall and wide he is, and I just go into full freak out mode. It's never happened to me before, whatever it may be. So first time for everything, I guess. So I go into full freak out mode. I get my gun up. I'm pretty comfortable with my gun. I study ballistic charts. I shoot a 270. I've talked about it before. In my opinion, it's the best caliber that you can buy, especially for deer. So I shoot 270. I know all the ballistic charts. Well, the problem is I know the ballistic charts for 100 yards and out. This deer is like 40, 50 yards away.
Yeah.
And so I start doing these ballistic charts while I do them wrong. I'm thinking I'm shooting at this deer. The bullet's still going to be rising, so I need to aim low. Well, I needed to aim high. And so basically I aimed at the lower portion of this deer's shoulder, and I pulled the trigger, and I missed. I just flat out missed. I've got some videos and stuff on my phone. I've got some videos that I actually talk about it as far as my video blogs for my double axis hunting. But I just flat out missed. I thought I hit him, and you know, I go out, I look for evidence and stuff like that, and I just flat out missed. And at that point in time, I wasn't sure. We searched for him for an hour that night. Bobby went back the next day and searched for him for another hour or two, and there's just no evidence of him. And so this deer shows up at another farm on another camera the next day, so I know he's still alive. So I mean, kind of talking about it on first time for the camera, I mean, I just missed. And it just goes to show you that I'm not a seasoned hunter by any means. I'm 5 years in. I've had pretty decent success, but you know, if you don't have your wits about you and you're not thinking through every scenario, they're going to show up where you don't expect them. He showed up a lot closer, and you know, now that I look back at it to where I aimed and everything else, I'm sure I just shot literally right underneath him. I was probably 2 to 3 inches off, and that's all it takes sometimes. I mean, I might have literally, I don't think I skinned his belly, but I mean, I'm sure he felt the heat from it. And if I had aimed straight on, I'm sure I would have hit him, because 270 is such a flat shooting cartridge that it would have been straight on. But you know, I wasn't expecting it. I was packing my stuff up, just had no expectations of it. So basically what I'm trying to say is I probably missed the second biggest deer that I may ever see in my lifetime, and he's gone. He's we haven't had him on camera since then. We had another deer on camera early on. He's been missing for weeks now, but you know, I went back out and I was hunting the rest of the week. Anytime I could get out there, I was gone the whole weekend, and I had all Monday to hunt. And you know, you get hyped up for it, but
yeah, you sure do.
The problem is that when you're hunting on a small farm, I'm not sure how many acres do you hunt on?
It's not as much as what your grandparents said.
Yeah, so I'm at about 70 acres. Let's call it 70 acres. And so I'm sitting there in my blind on Monday. It's my last day of hunting. I went out that morning, and I had a really rare morning in that, and this is why I think our deer population is down. I had a rare morning in that when it was first breaking light, I could shoot, but I could, you know what I'm saying, where it's first coming up and it's kind of hard to see. I had 3 coyotes run across the hill and the farm across from me. A lot of people say coyotes aren't pack hunters, whatever, maybe, but I've seen evidence in my time of hunting that they probably hunt in 2s, 3s, maybe more. And so I had 3 coyotes running across the top of the hill, and it was so cold that morning. I remember just, there was no wind or anything else. It was one of the coldest mornings that I've been out this year in particular. And basically by 10:30, 11, I was done. I was like, I'm cooked, I'm going out. So I walked down the hill that morning, and I look out when I go or whatever. I mean, I don't just put my head down and walk out. Yeah. So I looked up it's 2 farms over. So there's a farm across from where I look, there's another farm over here, and there's a farm beyond that. So it's 2 farms over, and I see something on the hill, and I put my binoculars up, and I literally almost dropped them. I was so shocked. There were 6 coyotes fighting and playing on this hill over there. And so I have 2 different camera angles of this happening. But I mean, to have 6 coyotes together, to me, I've never seen it on any film. Yeah. I mean, 2 or 3 at a time is all I've ever seen. But to have 6 coyotes together, I mean, I just think that goes to show why our deer population is so down right now. I saw 5 in Fayette County together this year, kind of in similar situations. They actually ran across the road, and they stopped in the field across from me. And they were kind of doing the same thing, running around, playing, fighting, and stuff like that. And so that's twice this year that I saw 5 or more. And I was just really blown away by that. But I went back that evening because it seems to be that the farm's an evening farm.
Yeah.
More so anyway. Went back that evening, and I was in my blind, and I don't think I told you this either, but once before while I was muzzleloading, I heard something, and it was me and Bobby in the blind at that point. I said, I think I hear somebody laughing. And he's like, a lot of times he's like, nah, you're crazy. So he's like, nah, you don't hear that. I was like, I think I do. Look out the back. And so he looked out the back of the blind. 2 people. They just bought the farm behind us.
Yeah.
They're walking the fence line, laughing, cutting up, having a good time, not wearing orange or anything else. Which in Kentucky, to me, and maybe it needs to be talked about a little bit more, but I think that people that own farms and stuff, especially that are close to adjacent farms that aren't just big, massive lands, they should probably be aware of this, because I could have been some drunk idiot in my blind, you know, and maybe been popping off shots at everything that walked by me.
I've heard a lot of stories about people be sitting there blind, somebody will just walk up behind them.
So they're walking out, I go out and I talk to them. They're nice people. I mean, don't get me wrong, but to me, I've put thousands of dollars into this. I've put a lot of time into this, and it's a big deal because they basically ruined my morning hunt at that point. And I say, well, I guess we're going to go hunt somewhere else because, you know, we've been talking, you guys are laughing and stuff. Oh, we're so sorry. And okay, that's great. So I'm sitting there that Monday evening. I'm off that day of work, so I'm not sure it was 3 or 4 o'clock. And once again, I hear something behind me. Well, this time it's kids. And this lady has 2 or 3 kids out, and they're at the tree behind me that's about 40 yards away. And they're like, oh, let's see if we can wrap our arms around this tree. And they're like wrapping their arms around this tree, connecting hands and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I just don't understand why people don't get that it's hunting season. And I feel like that they're probably pretty blessed that I'm a nice guy, that I'm going to take these things into consideration. But the problem is, in not 15 minutes, maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes after they leave, directly in front of me, I see a doe come out. And, you know, I was actually texting you when you told me those 2 does came down the hill. And I told you, I was like, get ready, man, because there's probably a buck pushing them out. And I really believed that when I texted you. So I see the doe come out, and I see another deer emerge behind it. I knew it was a buck. Put my binoculars on, and at that point in time, I couldn't tell if it was a shooter or not. Well, it turns out to be the 8-pointer. And I'm pretty good about keeping my emotions in check and everything else, but I really wanted to shoot this 8-pointer because it's been such a hard year. Everything else. But I don't do it. I wish I could have had it on film, but I didn't because I was so kind of into making sure that what deer this was. And so he's following this doe up to here, the hill. They go 20 yards to my left, and they come directly into the woods 20 yards away. Well, this doe is pretty crafty, so she loses him. And I'm looking out my back window, and this doe walks 10 yards behind me maybe. And 15 yards behind me, there's a fence. And, you know, 20, 30 yards beyond that is where those people just freaking were. And sure enough, I just sit there and watch, and this buck follows exactly where that doe went. And that buck went right to where the same path was. The tree that those kids were and that woman were just connecting arms on, not wearing orange, not doing anything else, is literally right behind that. And to me, I take very seriously about being a responsible hunter. I don't drink. I don't do any of these things that a lot of people do. And I'm not putting it down or anything else because some people can go out and drink and handle it and make smart decisions, but a lot of people don't. And I just saw in the news where a guy thought he saw a deer.
Last week.
Yep, thought he saw a deer. Made an absolutely remarkable shot because he shot like 200 yards with a pistol and hit a woman in the hip, and she bled out and died. And so these things play through my mind when I'm out there. And, you know, that deer walked right there. If I had known, or there had been a little bit of time lapse, let's say that those people were coming up the hill and I didn't know about it, they were being quiet, and that deer was standing right there and I shot and it went through that deer and hit them. Yeah. I mean, my life's over with, their life's over with.
Can't take that back.
No. And so I just feel like it's very important that people understand where they are, that there's a season going on, that not everybody's going to make the smart decisions. And I didn't want to shoot that deer. I was just strictly looking to learn and everything else. And so he keeps on walking past, and that's all that keeps replaying through my mind. And to me, I thought my hunt was over with. It wasn't, because he's rutting. He's not thinking right. He runs that doe up the hill. But I didn't see anything else, and that was the end of my rifle season. But that was just one of those days where, you just sit there and think about all the possibilities and everything else. And it's just a bummer to me, because I feel like I've had sabotage the whole time. The people that used to own that farm would run up four-wheelers and stuff all the time, right during shooting, like the best shooting times. To me, 30 minutes right after sunrise and 30 minutes before sunset are the best times. And, I had people running four-wheelers, and now I've got kids and everything else behind me.
I'm sure if they don't even realize it's hunting season, though.
Yes and no, because I talked to them that day, and I feel like if I hadn't talked to them that day, then maybe they could have said, "Oh, you know what? We didn't even know about it, and we'll kind of look into it a little bit more." But I told them, I was like, "There's my hunting blind. That's where I'm hunting. Just want to let you guys know, introduce myself and everything else." And to me, I would probably look into it a little bit more and be like, "Okay, well, this is hunting season. I know they have a farm to run and everything else, but to have kids and stuff out on the last day of hunting season, I don't know, man. I wouldn't have my kids out there. I'd be scared to death. And if I did have my kids out there, they'd be orange head to toe." So, it's just one of those things. But as far as our hunting season goes, Bobby was out there that entire week where I was working. I just had the weekends and the evenings. Bobby was out there from start to finish. It was a really tough time for him. He didn't see a whole lot. I think it's been too warm. I don't know if they got the rut right, etc. A million excuses, but it just didn't seem to be moving. He was out there the whole time.
It wasn't very cooperative because it rained a lot. It wasn't really too cold. There's one day it was really cold, and I would think it was the day I saw the does I was telling you about.
Yeah.
But the rest of it just wasn't really very good weather for it.
There was just a couple spurts in there that I actually saw quite a few deer and had some options, and of course I missed the one, which I really don't know what to think about it. I'm going to try not to dwell on it too much, because I've had pretty good experiences in the past. I shot a bigger deer than him. If I hadn't shot a bigger deer than him and I'd shot a couple like this, I'd probably be literally puking. But I mean, it is what it is. I missed it. The other guy has him on camera now. He hasn't been on my camera at all. And if somebody gets them, somebody gets them. I mean, I had my chance, and my dad, who's on kind of the one that had this vacation and everything else, and they were talking to me and be like, are you just so upset that you're not in the woods? And I'm like, no, I had my chance and I screwed it up, so now I'm here. But like I was telling you earlier, I have the full week off of muzzleloader. If there's only the one deer that is going to be available that we want to take out of the herd, I'm probably just going to sit back and film again. I'm not going to worry about it too much, and just try to enjoy it. And I'll probably take my 223 because I think we have a coyote problem. I've only seen the one coyote while I've been deer hunting that has been on our farm, and I killed him. That's probably going to be my focus, especially after deer season. I'm going to be in there with my 223. I'll be hunting raccoons and coyotes because I think we have a bad population problem. Something else, our turkeys have went from like 100 to like 50.
Yeah. And
I thought it was actually the fact that we've had a lot of bobcats move in, but I think the coyotes can't be excused from that either. And so I feel like we do need to do a lot of predator control to try to get the outlook for next year to be a lot better. But at this point in time, I'm not overly confident. We put a lot of corn out the other day, so I'm going to go back and check the camera towards the end of next week, and if a couple of the deer that we had on there earlier in the season are back, then I'll be excited. I'll be pumped, ready to go and be in my blind. If not, then I'll be sitting with Bobby cutting up, hoping that he's able to shoot the one big deer that we have. So
I'll be in my blind practicing my Cherokee, listening to my Cherokee flute music. That's what I'm into now.
anything to up your chances, huh?
Yeah, I've got to pray to the mountains, to the hills, to the trees.
Well, you know, man, some people have the luck and some people don't.
Yeah. Mine really probably is lack of preparation, because I don't really have the time to go out and invest time into. And I think that next year it's going to be my priority is investing more time into it.
Well,
because you get what you get. You know, you get what you put in. You know what I'm saying? In everything.
I have a buddy, and I'm going to say his name because he'll never watch the podcast. And he's probably going to let me share the photos and stuff. But he killed a deer that's it's really close to this one.
Yeah.
This one's 120 inches. It was like 118, so really similar. And he killed the deer, and he was out with his dad hunting. And his dad saw the deer. It was pushing the doe. It was moving pretty quick. And his dad took the shot, and he took the follow-up shot, thinking that, his dad had wounded it, and he was putting it down when he put the deer down. Come to find out, there's only one hole in this deer. And so he tags the deer. And this was his first time out this year. And some people just have the luck.
Yeah, on opening day, I'll see pictures within the first hour.
Yeah.
On Facebook, I'll see 5 or 6 people with them.
But there's only been 320 deer tagged in Clark County this year. So there's not, to me, 500 to 1,000 is like typical. So obviously the numbers are way down this year. I'm not sure if that's just because it's been a tough year. I'm not sure if there's not as many people hunting, what the deal is. But obviously it's been a lot down, but there's a lot of luck that plays into it.
Yeah, like I was telling you, last weekend I was out. I probably heard 2 or 3 gunshots in all the adjoining properties. I mean, it's not. I don't know. They just weren't moving a lot around our area. If they're not here, I don't know.
Yeah, but back-to-back seasons I've tagged out in rifle season, and this year, I'm going into late muzzleloading for the first time in 2 years, and it's just a really weird feeling. And it's hard to get motivated for it because yes, I do have the time off, and that's great, but at the same time I don't have that many options right now, so yeah, that's kind of a bummer. But I feel like the amount of corn and all the other work and preparation that we've done to put out has really given us a good shot. And if it doesn't, I'm going to take my 223, I'm going to take my muzzleloader. If I see a coyote, I'm going to bust a coyote, and I'm not going to be sad about it because I've killed big deer in the past. And, I'm not going to lose sleep over it because I think that we really do have a coyote problem right now. And I think that probably should take the forefront. But at the same time, when you try to call them in, they're too smart. They know that there's been several coyotes killed there with the call, and they're not going to come in. So you have to catch them kind of naturally moving through. And that seems to be the best luck that I've had so far. So,
like I said, this year I didn't put a lot of preparation into it. So I mean, like I said, you get what you put in. But I mean, I'd be happy. I mean, if I don't get anything, I spend a lot of time out there. Because I mean, just when you're out there, you just kind of feel there's something primal about it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of my favorite thing about it.
You tend to shut your cell phone off, shut your mind off, and just kind of, get back to the basics.
Yeah, realize that you're the same as the leaves and the trees and the other animals that you're.
That's way too Cherokee for me, bro.
I told you.
But the one thing that I will say, and it's a saying that I've had since, I don't know, the second or third year that I've been into this, and it kind of goes for multiple things, but my version of it is the corn always wins. And I like to say that a lot to Bobby and everything else, because sooner or later those deer are going to get hungry enough to come to that. Next year we're going to do food plots. We tried that last year, it didn't work out, so we ended up having to put corn out anyway. But when you put corn out, you can't kill turkeys and stuff, and so that's a really big bummer. But if you have crops out, you can still kill the turkeys. So this year the turkey population is down anyway, so I feel like it's a good thing that we're just basically feeding them for free. I've put on videos of double axes of turkeys from me to you that I could jump out and I feel like I could grab it and go at it with a knife or something. But it's just one of those things that kind of giving back and putting a lot of corn out right now and just hoping that the animals kind of rebound and in theory everything should have a normal range It should move outside of that normal range for the breeding period, and then it should come back to that normal range after the breeding period.
Yeah.
And we're kind of getting really close to that now, where they should be coming back after. So anything that survived should be coming back, because we had like 15 and 20 deer total, and now we're down to 5 or 10 total. So obviously we're missing like 10 deer right now, and some of them have been killed. I know that they have. The deer that we passed on opening day, I'm pretty sure was killed a couple days ago. I mean, that's just part of it. You pass on them, hope that they live on, that they share their genetics and everything else, but that doesn't always work out like that. And so we're kind of at the point we are now, hoping that they come back and just gunning for this one, the one deer that's out there. We call it the Big Ten. Bobby's been hunting for it since day one, and I really hope he gets it. And if he gets it, the season's been made, whether I get a deer or not. So there's not really a deer that it has blown me away and excited me other than the one that I missed. So, but it is what it is. I feel like it was the offspring of that one. I feel like it was 4.5 years old. That one's 5.5 years old. So I feel like it was its offspring. It had the kickers. See how it's got the kickers on the side and everything like that. It had the kickers just like that one. So it is what it is. I made my mistake. I'm not going to make any more. I'm not going to overthink things. I'm going to try to take a deep breath, which is the best advice that I could give anybody else. Just take a deep breath, take your time, remember all the stuff that you practice, and don't do what I did.
Yeah, our very first year deer hunting, I went to the middle of the season. There was 3 deer coming, 3 does coming in the school, and it was dark, and you could barely see them. It was just right when it was getting dark. I just jumped, just took the shot. You kind of get that.
You get the fever.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah, and I haven't done that since.
What I've tried to do, and I know it's cheesy, and I know it's corny, blah, 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 I don't care. I try to think it all through. I try to tell myself to aim small, miss small, the old Patriot thing. Ted Nugent says it all the time. And I feel like if you do that every time and you have that routine and you take enough time and you go through, the whole procedure to where you make a good shot. In the times that I've missed, I've rushed it. And I've done my share of missing. I missed a turkey with a shotgun. I missed a coyote with a rifle. I missed a buck now with a rifle. And I mean, I feel like it's all part of the learning process, and you really have to control your emotions. And for like the first buck that I killed, it was almost like playing sports again, and then I got in that zone and I just didn't rush it. I knew what was going on, took my time, and I made it a fantastic shot. He was dead within 20 yards, and I got to celebrate and everything else. But what I've learned is that it's not all a fairy tale like that. It doesn't all work out like that. You have to really put your time in. You have to control your mind. You have to control your emotions more so than your mind, and make sure that you put a good shot out there. And if you don't, then it's going to make you pay. And you're going to be like me and sit there that night and just have it run through your mind 1,000 times and be too embarrassed to tell people. I missed it. I was like, I missed a deer close, and people like with a bow, and I'm like, no, I missed a deer close with a rifle.
I've heard plenty of people, like, usually if you're sitting in the blind, you get jammed up in a spot when one gets real close.
Yeah, I mean, and that, a little bit of that did happen. I had to lean over like this, but here's the problem. If I was thinking straight and I wasn't getting, too panicked or anything else, I'd have kicked the chair out from underneath of me, I'd have took a knee, I'd have put the rifle on the blind, and I'd have made a good shot. But I didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah. And
I have nobody to blame but myself, and it is what it is. I mean, thank God I do have a good deer in the wall.
It's a common thing that happens, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't feel like a lot of people talk about it or as upfront and honest as what I am, and that's, I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. I flat out missed. It is what it is. Can't take it back. And I may never see that deer again. If I don't, it's my fault. So.
Yeah, I always share my mistakes, because I mean, that's the only way I get better. But you do something for a long time, and You still not good at it. Like I've been fishing forever, and still there's some days I've got not catching anything. It's just one of those things.
Somebody said you just gotta let it go. And
Yeah.
this is my exact response. I said, I don't remember who it was specifically, but I said, look, I played high school basketball until I was a junior, and when I was a senior in high school, I played at the YMCA, and we were a pretty decent team. I started the game out poorly, and I started a hot streak in the first quarter, and I made every shot that I took going into the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, I made a steal, and with like 4 or 5 seconds left, I came down the court. I was playing against Brian Thyre. I kind of knew where he was going to set up. He was going to take away like a step out from the three-pointer. And so I don't know if you remember the Y, but it had the volleyball court. I played in the Y forever because my mom used to work there, so I practiced there a lot. And so I knew where everything was, and right where that volleyball court line was, I was like, I'm gonna pull this shot. And so I came across half court and pulled up right there at the volleyball line. It was probably 3 feet in front of where Brian had stopped, thinking that I would never pull that far. We were down by like 2, and the ball went in, rolled around, and came out. And I still see that ball going in and coming around. I was like, you really think I'm going to forget about a deer that I missed when I'm thinking about a shot that I missed 12 years ago in freaking YMCA basketball? So that's just the type of person I am. I'm competitive, and that stuff still sticks with me. And because that sticks with me so hard, that I know that I probably won't make that mistake again. I may make that mistake again, or I may just flat out miss, but it'll never be because I got the fever again, because you know, you have to learn from that. So but hopeful for muzzleloading. I'm hopeful for you. I wish that, and everybody says, why don't you take me hunting? Well, you know, I've gave up so much of my time filming this year, from turkey hunting to now deer hunting, that there's just so little time for me to even go. And so people don't realize that, and I would love to be able to take you to go.
It's a really good story I want to hear about the turkey and us filming. Whenever I shot the turkey and while I was filming, and I waited for it to right after it got out of the camera view.
Yeah. So yeah, me and David go hunting, and I'm like, David, I'm hunting for me, and you're filming. And I had been like a week straight taking my brother-in-law hunting, and Jake comes in, and I'm like, well, hell, David's spent this time out in the woods with me. He deserves to kill one if he wants to kill one. So I'm like, you know, Dave, take the shot if you want to take the shot. Well, the problem is he has the camera, and we're afraid if we change camera hands at this point that it might spook the turkey because it's on a tripod. And so I was like,
he was fairly close too. He wasn't, you know,
it was probably 20 yards.
Yeah.
It was probably between 20 and 30 yards. So I was like,
it's impossible to miss him.
Wait until, no, that's not true. I was like, wait until they get into the frame and just take the shot. And so they get in the frame. David puts a great shot down. It goes down right away. I rush out there because I've seen turkeys go down and get up and run away. I rush out there and make sure the turkey's down for the count. And I'm like, did you get it? Did you get it? And David's like, oh yeah, I got it. And so I didn't watch it at that point. We go through all of our pictures and everything else, and I get back to the house and I play it back on the video camera, and like it gets to the point where the turkeys are right in front of the camera, and then they like take 2 steps over to the right, and you hear the shot, and you don't ever see it. So, yeah, that's a pretty funny story. But, you know, that's just a part of the learning experience. Once again, we're all trying to go out there and you know, just figure it all out, and it's hard. It's a lot harder than people think. So
yeah. I mean, being our age, I think everything's a learning process, and I gotta remind myself that every day. Everything I do.
In my mind, I'm the opposite. I'm like, man, I should have everything figured out by now, and I don't. So
I mean, I've always been like that. I think, I don't know, just recently, just
gave yourself a break.
You gotta learn from, you know, you gotta make the mistakes so you can get better.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm hopeful for muzzleloading, and if nothing comes back in, I'll probably shoot a doe just to have some meat.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be coyote and raccoon apocalypse. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Gonna get some coyote meat.
I've seen people eat them before, but I don't know. I don't think that's a decision I'm willing to make. So
we'll get Nan to cook it for us. I'm just gonna tell her what it is.
Oh, Can you imagine how tough it would be? It would be like eating, like let's say we had it fried up. It would be like eating fried jerky or something.
We'd make Brett try it. Just tell him it's something else.
I don't know. I don't know if we could get him to hang around, number one. But if we could get him to hang around, I don't know if we could get him to try it. So
I was probably 11. We had this like, I went trick or treating at some house and the guy didn't have any candy. He gave me like some baking chocolate. It was like extra dark gone chocolate. And I tried it. It's like nastiest thing ever. And I was like, this is so gross. I'm like, I'm gonna save it and wait till Brett comes over and see if he wants to try it. And Brett's like, this is good chocolate.
that's hilarious. Oh my gosh, that's typical Brett too. So hopefully we can have him on for the New Year's Eve. We got the bigger table now, so we can set the bigger table up and set the 4 chairs behind it, and hopefully have everybody over. So, well, good luck to you in your muzzle loading. It's coming up pretty soon here.
Good luck with you. You can't see me, but I'm bound.
Just giving me the old Chinese bow. But I mean, if you can, go out and stick some corn out. I mean, just get you like a 50-pound bag of corn from Tractor Supply.
I've been throwing apples out, but corn's probably be the easier thing to do.
Yeah, it just sucks to carry it in if you can't drive back there, because I've done that.
Yeah, because I got to hike down this hill,
Yeah.
and there's this creek I go up, and I got to hike up this hill, and then I set the spot that sits between the creek and the other hill.
Been there, done that. So
it's a weird spot, but it sucks getting up there, carrying all my stuff, carrying the lawn.
for sure, preaching on the choir here, buddy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you got a giant freaking. It's like going up the Lord of the Rings mountain. But take the ring to the pit. I can't remember the Mordor. That's
Mordor. Yeah. See, my blind used to be about halfway up that hill, and I moved it all the way up to the top because I thought it would like
blend in better. Us too.
Yeah, they wouldn't be worried about it as much. But the problem is that sometimes that they sneak in on you before you know it. So
yeah.
But anyways, good luck to you, and hopefully everybody's muzzleloading season works out, and then we'll try to do another one. I'd like to have a guest on. It's just really hard to get anybody on right now because it still is hunting season. A lot of people bow hunt and everything else. So
send us pictures if you get one too.
Yeah, for sure. If anybody's watching this that has some good pictures, send it to me, and I'll put it on my double axes and my double axes hunting site. So. If you send us pictures, but
make us real jealous.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, we'll come back on and we'll update you guys on how it goes, and hopefully do quite a few more of these exclusive hunting podcasts. And until the next time, we'll talk to you then. So good luck, everybody, on their hunts.